Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah. Very, very powerful day where we can affect the next coming year of my own life and the entire world. I want to dedicate this class to the elevation of the soul of a dear soul who passed away exactly a year ago, way before her time. And we're going to dedicate this class for Hannah, Suzanne, Margaret, but Fergus Callan. And we're going to wish her to have an elevation of the soul, Ilui Nishmat, and may she rest in peace in Gan Eden, and Bezrat Hashem very soon with the coming of Mashiach. She and all the rest will be awoken with the resurrection of the dead. And in the meantime, may Hashem take care of her. And we're going to use this class and all the mitzvot that are going to come out of it for the merit of her dear soul, and may her parents be comforted by the Almighty. And Bezrat Hashem, so many merits and mitzvot that are going to come out from the class should be in the merit of, again, Hannah, Suzanne, Margaret, but Fergus Callan. Rosh Hashanah is a once-in-a-year opportunity, really. And, when opportunity is being served, take it while it's hot. Don't wait for it to cool down. And you don't want to watch this video in a month and say, now I have 11 months to wait to do tshuva. Now, Rosh Hashanah is not only that you can be forgiven for everything, and I more want to focus on what can be achieved on Rosh Hashanah, and what you can set for the next coming year, which really what is decided on Rosh Hashanah is not only the quantity of what you're going to get, but the quality of what you're going to get. Now forget about the year back now. That's already erased. Now let's look forward for the year forward. Now, one thing that we wish each other, and we also pray for that, is that we should be written in the book of life. Right? That's what they say in English. You should be inscribed for the book of life. Likatev besefer hachaim. Now what is this book of life that it's talking about? Is that the book that I'm actually going to stay alive? That's the life that it's referring to? Or if not, chas v'shalom, I die? What does it mean to? So I have to understand what is this chaim, this life that it's talking about. And how is that affecting me for the next coming year? So what happens on Rosh Hashanah is I'm going to get a certain he'ara, a shine, shefa, an abundance from above, certain energy that will sustain for the rest of the year. Kind of similar that when you want to dive into a pool and you want to see how far you can go with one breath, and you can go do the whole pool under the water, you do and then you take a deep breath, and that will sustain you for a minute and a half, 2 minutes if you real have healthy lungs. That's Rosh Hashanah. You take and how much the bracha, the he'ara, the shine, will sustain for you for the rest of the year. Now, when it's talking about that you should be inscribed in the book of life, don't necessarily picture a book and then they put your name there. Rather, internalize it and translate it that you're going to be connected to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the source of life. So when I'm going to be written in the book of life, means I'm going to be attached to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, to the Master of the universe for the rest of the year. How is that translated to me as a simple individual? I have now some electronic gadget, whether it's a TV, a radio, or a CD player, a fan, doesn't matter. You can have the most fanciest TV that they have in the market right now, but you know what's going to make the TV work? That you plug it in. And when it's plugged in, there's electricity, that's what's going to feed the TV. You can have all the functions, the best quality, best of everything, but there's no electricity, it's worthless. Same thing with any other electronic device. So the electricity that will fire up, that will ignite, or more to say, will make the device work, that's really what happens in Rosh Hashanah, is how much electricity are you going to get, and how much voltage of it, and how much it's going to sustain. And the story, that's really what happens on Rosh Hashanah, to make it simple. Now, with that said, And this, by the way, this class will be applicable to any day of the year. Happens to be that we're a day before Rosh Hashanah. So this is now where you strike the iron while it's hot. Now, most of us, where we are positioned right now is in a place that is called a Klippa. Most of us, by the way. We're not so easily out of the Klippa. Now, what does that mean that I'm in the Klippa? The term to it is Sharui B'Klippa. Sharui is, when you want to make a certain dish, sometimes you simmer it 24 hours in some gravy. This is called Sharui, when it's sitting how you say? I said marinated. Marinating for 24 hours for the chicken to taste good. For the ones who eat the chicken, but nevertheless. So when it says Sharui B'Klippa, is that you are marinating, so to say, in the Klippa. Now what does that mean to you? It means the Klippa is controlling you. Klippa, just to make a quick definition, is a spiritual energy, a husk, a negative energy that is opposing Kedusha, opposing holiness, and it's controlling you. I will call it for now a leech or a tick, because it's feeding off your Kedusha. That's what it does. A tick doesn't have a life of its own. It has to suck blood of some other animal. That's what the Klippa does. It's sucking your chayut, your life force. Now, what the Klippa does to you, it bothers you all day long. The word that it uses in Hebrew, the holy books are written in Hebrew, not in English, it says tzara alav. Tzara, you can explain in a few ways. Tzara comes from the word tzara, like a problem. Tzara means also that it's giving you sorrow, but also when you surround the city, it means to put the city under siege, is latzur the city. So tzara alav, it's controlling you, it's putting you under suffering, and it's surrounding you. It's putting you under some type of a lockdown. Ooh, lockdown. Ooh, what a word. We're all going to be locked down in 24 hours. But nevertheless, locked up. But nevertheless, the Klippa locks you down. Okay? Maybe the governments are part of the Klippa. Oh, they lock you down. Chas v'shalom, I'm not saying anything against the government. Nevertheless, the Klippa locks you down. Tzara alav. Now, the Klippa, as I said, doesn't have life force but from your chayut, from your energy. It sucks off your energy. You do good, you put tefillin on, you say birkat hamazon, you do mitzvot, it sucks your energy. That's what the Klippa does. Now, how is that affecting you practically? All what I'm talking now sounds very lofty and Kabbalistic. Practically, what does it do? It sucks your energy out. That's what it does. It puts people are depressed, people are sad, tired, no energy, no happiness, no true joy. The Klippa sucks your chayut. Chayut is your energy, is your life force. That's what it does all day long. As it says, sucks you dry all day long. And it's affecting you to the core till it reaches your nefesh and makes a person sad and not only sad and depressed, bothered and confused, not guided, not focused and so forth. Many things. Now what do I need to do? I need to have a Yetziat Mitzrayim. Now I know it's now Rosh Hashanah, it's not Pesach. Yetziat Mitzrayim means I go out of Egypt. Now it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going out of the land of Egypt. Rather that I go out of where it's called Tzarut HaNefesh. Mitzrayim, the root of the word Mitzrayim is Metzar, Mem Tzadik Reish. Tzarut is when something goes narrow. Tzarut HaNefesh is when my soul is squeezed. No spiritual freedom. Sometimes you feel oppressed, depressed, pressured, and so forth. Why? The soul is being crushed. So I need to go out of this state of tzarut, that like a baby goes through the birth canal, feels a lot of pressure. We also go through that. But I need to go out of this state. It's called the Yetziat Mitzrayim. That I go out of the state of being crushed and limited. Now, what happens is, I'll tell you what the problem is, that after years of being in the Klippa, and don't think for 1 second you're not, by the way, we're all in a Klippa one way or another. Some people are in the Klippa of Arayot, of forbidden relations. Another person is a klippa of te'avot, of all sorts of forbidden desires. Another person is in a klippa of desiring women or food or whatever it is. We're all stuck in klippot. I like to vision it like that you're walking in a swamp. So you put one leg in, all the dirt, you take it out, you barely can take it out, pulls you down. I don't know if you ever walked in a swamp, you can barely move your legs. You're stuck in a klippah. Now I'll tell you what's the problem when you're stuck in a klippah for years. That it seems to you that you're in a good place. That's the nature of the klippah, to put you in some type of impression, no, I'm doing great. Well, nothing's wrong. Yeah, but you're not even noticing how you're stuck in a swamp? No, I'm fine. A person can have a problem with alcohol, drugs, gambling. Oh, I'm totally good. Well, you drink all day long. No, I'm fine, I have it under control. No, you're not. And this is one example out of many. The klippah will come. I have to take a stop for a second. You have to imagine the klippah is a certain energy that feeds off your life force, so it will manipulate you to serve its purpose. So it will control your thoughts, your behavior, your emotions, and you feed it. It will tell you, go and sin more and eat more, and you provide it. So the klippah puts you in a state of awareness that you think that you are doing good, that you're in a good place. I said that not once and not twice. 80% of the nation of Israel stayed in Mitzrayim because they thought they're in a good place. They had such a horrible mentality of a slave that I'm not a slave, I'm fine. 99.9%, well, I shouldn't say such numbers, I would say the majority, because I really can't count, but let's just say for the sake of the example, we'll say 80% of the Jewish Americans think that they're fine in America. They have no need to leave the United States, totally safe, everything's fine, I'm doing great. To move to Israel? Little did they know that the ground is burning underneath their feet. Now it's actually also in front of their eyes. Quarter of America is under fire. But nevertheless, America is the modern day Mitzrayim. I tell American Jews, leave, what are you doing there? You have months before this place is kaput. What are you talking about? It's like the Jewish Germans in Germany. The people will tell them in 38, 39, what are you doing? Can't run away. No, we're fine. Everything is good. What, are you worrying about him? He's just another politician. No, he's a tyrant that is going to kill you all. No. So that's the exact same thing. The Jews, they weren't called Jews at the time. They were called Bnei Israel, the sons of Jacob, sons of Israel. The nation of Israel, 80% of them didn't leave Mitzrayim because they felt, no, we're doing great here. Everything's fine. But you're a slave. I'm not a slave. I work 18 hours a day, but that's what an average individual works in America. I have a beautiful house and a car. Yeah, but you're slave to your money. And you have credit card bills and debts, and your house is in foreclosure, and you're all day long running after materialism. You think that's okay? That's totally fine. The klippah will put you in a state of imaginary that you're doing great. That's the nature of the klippah. Because if you wouldn't think that you're doing great, then you would try to find a solution or change the situation. Now this is called the slave, by the way. When it's talking about the nation of Israel were slaves in Egypt, don't necessarily imagine them carrying bricks and being whipped. You are also slaves. Most people are slaves. Most people are slaves to their phone. They can't leave their phone for 2 minutes. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? It lets you go without your phone for 3 days. You don't need to check your emails. People now are getting all uptight. A long weekend, we have a Shabbat, a Rosh Hashana, 3 days. What am I going to do? You're a slave to your phone. Some people are slaves to their car, to their business, to the food they eat, whatever it is. A slave is not necessarily somebody who's being worked in slavery, rather a person that is shavui b'klippa. You are a prisoner of the klippah. The klippah makes you a slave. If the klippah wants pleasure from food, you're going to be in the bakery 3 times a day. And you think it's totally fine. No, it's just a cookie. What's the big deal? The klippah is telling you, I want not the cookie, not the flour, not the sugar, the desire, the te'ava, the pleasure, that you're getting from that piece of cookie. That's what the Klippa is after. So a slave, it means a person that is a slave to the Klippa, that is programmed by the Klippa, by this energy, and he's a prisoner, and he does what the Klippa tells him to do. And if the Klippa tells him, go and now steal, cheat, eat, sleep for 12 hours, go and pleasure yourself with this and with that, then the person is... The reality is that most people are blinded and they're slaves to their desires, to their lusts, and of course to many things such as governments and so forth. They have everybody under some spell. But anyways, now that we got that cleared, now let's see what's going to happen now, because we're all stuck one or another in a Klippa. Now let's talk, cut to the chase. Enough with all that. Now that you all know that we are in a Klippa, and you don't think for one second, if you think you're not stuck in a Klippa, that's already a very severe Klippa that you're in, that you're in some state of denial, that no, I'm totally fine. Even if you have a beard and a yarmulke and you pray 3 times a day and you eat kosher and you observe Shabbat, you're still stuck one or another in one type of a Klippa. But nevertheless, how do I get out of it, and how do I break into spiritual freedom, and how can I be blessed this coming year? Because I told you in the beginning, I want to get a blessing. Blessing is not me getting $10,000 a month. That's not a blessing. A bracha means a certain he'ara, shine, energy coming from the world above, specifically from the Master of the universe. So the way it works as follows. My soul is broken into 5 levels. We're going to focus on 3 levels that are called Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. Each one of them is built from 10 sfirot, from 10 levels. So I have 10 levels in my Nefesh, 10 levels in my Ruach, and 10 levels in my Neshama. These are called sfirot sheba Nefesh, sheba Ruach, uva Neshama. What does it really mean? Don't try to become now fancy now, sfirot, and people like talking with fancy terms. What I told you right now, these sfirot, I'll tell you in Hebrew, then I'll translate it. Kelim lekabbalat shefa. These are a kli. I was about to say the wrong word. We'll call it a vessel to receive an abundance. You have high quality wine or expensive wine. I want to get some of the wine. I need to hand out some type of a vessel so you can give me from this good wine, right? So the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama that is broken into 10 levels each one, these sfirot of my nefesh, ruach, neshama are vessels to receive shefa. That's the easier way to explain it. Each one of these levels of my soul correspond to a certain garment that the nefesh, which is the lowest of all, correspond to a garment that is called ma'aseh, actions. When I do actions, it's affecting my nefesh. The ruach is a higher level, a little bit more refined. Then the garment that is corresponding to the ruach is dibur, speech. Anything that I do with my speech will affect my ruach, good or bad. And the highest of all 3, which is the neshama, the garment, the reason why I'm saying garment, because the nefesh, ruach, neshama, they have to get dressed in a garment to be able to operate. So the level of the neshama, that corresponds to machshava. These are 3 garments: thought, speech, and action. Machshava, dibur, maaseh. When I speak, I will affect my ruach, good or bad. When I do actions, it will affect my nefesh, good or bad. And when I think, that will affect my neshama, good or bad. What does it mean, good or bad? If I have good positive thoughts, it will affect my neshama in a positive way. If I have bad thoughts, it will affect my neshama in a negative way. End of story. Now I know I'm going fast through it because I want to get to the point. When a person sins, and I know it sounds shocking to you, some people sin. I know you find it very hard to believe, but sometimes it happens. In the villages, out of not here. When a person sins, he does a certain blemish, a damage. If you want to picture it in your mind, kick a door of a car, you make a dent in the door. End of story. You make a sin, there's a blemish, there's a dent in the nefesh, or this ruach. What does it really happen? What Kabbalistically happens from what we just said? You break one of these vessels. This is called shvirat kelim. But not all the kelim. You do one sin. If it's in an action, it will break one of the vessels in the nefesh. I told you there are 10 kelim, 10 sfirot. You do it with dibur, with speech, it will affect the kelim, the vessels of the ruach. You do it in thought, it will affect the kelim of the neshama. End of story. For me, how I simplify it, I imagine you have a car, somebody bumps into your car, now you have a dent in the car. End of story. Now what happens is that when I do this sin, then if it's in the level of nefesh, 9 levels, they fall into the klippa. That's how it works. Imagine now the kelim, the vessels of the nefesh, there's a sin, it falls into the klippa. That's how it works. I have to release it. Now most of our sins are in the level of the nefesh, because it has to do with actions. Now what happens is that my kelim, my vessels to receive the shine, the he'ara, the energy from above, are broken and they fell into the klippa. So now I need to release them. End of story. Now what I covered now, this is a 3-month course in Kabbalah, what we simplified it into 15 minutes. Why? So I can understand something very simple. Throughout the year I sin. I sin with action, I sin with speech, and I sin with thought, which means that the kelim of my ruach and my nefesh and my neshama, I said it in the wrong order because I was thinking of the ruach, but nevertheless the kelim of the ruach, the nefesh, ruach, and neshama somehow fell into the klippa. Even in severe sins and even in small sins. Now we're going to talk in the next class of the sins that are called karet, and we're going to see how is that going to do with us tonight. But even small sins, so not all the kelim will fall to the klippa. Some of them will fall. But in many of the sins, all 9 sfirot fall to the klippa. Now I have to release it. And that's the opportunity that I have on Rosh Hashanah, because it's almost impossible to do it throughout the year. Rosh Hashanah is like a 99% coupon. Now when I need to elevate 9 sfirot from my nefesh that fell into the klippa, since nefesh, then ruach, then neshama, nefesh is the lowest. So what can help the nefesh is my ruach. And my ruach is dressed on the nefesh. So what do I need to do? I need to overpower my ruach, my spirit, over the nefesh. How do I release 9 sfirot of the nefesh from the klippa? Is with my mouth. It's called vidui dvarim. I have to confess. So we confess. Hashamnu, bagannu, gazalnu. Even though Rosh Hashanah, there's not much confessions to do, but that's what you need to do. Sorry, I hurt you. Sorry, I talked Lashon Hara about you. Sorry, I sat in your seat and I got you upset. Whatever it is. It's called vidui dvarim. I have to confess. We do that every day. But so much more so now. Now, how do I elevate this 9 sfirot from the ruach that fell into the klippa? Then I need to empower the neshama. I need to dress the neshama over the ruach. This is called la'alot neshama al ruach. How do I do that? This is called charata. This is when I have remorse and regret. And by that, I do a tikun for the sfirot of the ruach that fell into the klippa. This is called tikun neshama al ruach. So really what I need to do right now, before Rosh Hashanah, is to understand that I need to receive now a blessing for the next coming year. I said it before, that you're taking a deep breath, because you have now a whole year. Now what's going to happen on this year? That's what we're going to read in the shul the day after tomorrow. Mi yichyeh, mi yamut. Who's going to live, who's going to die? Mi yashir, mi aneh. Who's going to become rich, who's going to become poor? Mi b'cherev, mi b'magefa. Who's going to die with a sword, who's going to die this? Everything is decided on Yom Rosh Hashanah. It's not sealed. Yom Kippur, it's going to get sealed. But it's decided on Rosh Hashanah. So what really is decided is not how much money I'm going to have. That's, of course that's decided. That's nothing. Who's going to live? Who's going to get married? Who's going to have kids? Of course it's all important things. I'm not chas v'shalom minimizing anything. But how much connection to the Master of the Universe I'm going to have this year is decided. How much Torah I'm going to be able to absorb the entire year. How many hours of Torah is going to be given to me to learn. How much of it I'm going to understand. How much of it I'm going to apply. That's what I care. Of course I care about parnasah and health and all these things. But really what happens is decided what is going to give into me. Now if I don't have the vessel to accept it, so how am I going to get this bracha? That's why we had the whole month of Elul to do tshuva, is to start releasing all these sfirot that fell into the klippa. So how is the best way of doing that? Is like I told you, is that first of all, you You have to do tshuva. You have to acknowledge the situation. But then we do the vidui dvarim, is that we talk with our mouth, we confess, and then we have to have regret and remorse. Now, do you really reach to a level of regret or remorse? If you know how much you missed and how much you got damaged, then maybe you'll reach to a level of charata, real remorse. But I know it sounds in one way complicated. It's pretty simple to do. But the point what we need to take is before Rosh Hashanah is to make sure that my kelim, that my vessels are fixed, that I can receive this he'ara, this shefa. And it's not only in physical, also in the spiritual. And that's the day not only that is decided how much you're going to get, it's two things are decided. The quantity and the quality. You know what I mean? You can get millions of dollars. So the quantity you got a lot, but the quality is not good because all the millions of dollars are going to be lost at the end of the year. Or they're going to go on chas v'shalom bad things. So not only the quantity, also the quality of everything. And mainly, like I said, the life that we're talking about is my connection to the Master of the Universe. How much connection I'm going to have in the next coming year to the Master of the Universe. Now, since we're in such a detrimental year, 5,781, this is the year that we have all the signs that we are ready to receive the coming of Mashiach. We're going to have a class next week where we're going to kind of lay down what's waiting for us in the year Tafshin Pei Aleph, 5781. Oh, we're having a year and a half waiting for us. If you thought 80, Tafshin Pei was a bumpy year, Tafshin Pei Aleph is going to be the real roller coaster. So, what do you need? You need to cleave to Hashem. You need to hold to Hashem because that's the only way how to survive. The Torah says, "V'atem advekim b'Hashem Elokechem, chayim kulchem hayom." So we have a lot more to do. Now that we kind of laid it out, B'ezrat Hashem, next class will be a little bit more obvious what we need to do to prepare for Rosh Hashanah, and what we want to take on ourselves starting now till tomorrow. That I'm coming into Rosh Hashanah prepared, because you can do tshuva in one day. By the way, you don't have to have a whole year of tshuva. You can do everything tonight, B'ezrat Hashem. And then we're going to be blessed, bemet, with a chaim tovim, with good life, with health, happiness, success, sustenance, kirvat Hashem, to be close to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and the ultimate blessing that we should see with our own physical eyes, the coming of Mashiach, and it should be with chesed v'rachamim, with love and mercy. But it all depends on us, of course, how we're crowning Hashem and making Him King, and our little preparation makes a huge, huge effort, a huge effect. Not only our effort will make a huge effect. I'll take the opportunity to already wish you Shana Tova and Gmar Chatima Tova.